What up, guys? Steve, I1 Fitness. It's time for some shameless plugging. But I want to talk to you a little bit about some of the fitness channels that I started off watching in the beginning that have taught me a tremendous amount about training, about nutrition, and also just really basically inspired me to eventually create this channel. I've been thinking about a YouTube channel for a long time because it's something that I enjoyed. I found a lot of pleasure in looking at YouTube, not just for fitness related, but just about any kind of entertainment. I like the idea of being able to choose my entertainment, whenever I want it and whatever kind of content I want to look at. But since it's a fitness channel, we're going to relate it to fitness. And in the beginning, when I started, I needed knowledge. I was thirsty for it, and I think that's how everybody starts, and that's how you should start. I think when you are starting down this road, on this journey, you've got to get some general knowledge. I mean, it's a pretty much no-brainer. I mean, if you were doing this back in the day, if you decided that you wanted to take on a fitness lifestyle, or you wanted to get into powerlifting or bodybuilding or whatever, you would have to do some research, and you would have either gone and bought muscle magazines or books in the library and things like that, maybe some videos in the library, but you would have had to go about it by conventional means, or unless you knew somebody who was going to mentor you a little bit, because I know a lot of people might think it's just simple and you just lift weights. Clearly it's not that simple, because I know people that have been in the gym for years, they don't look any different. I've been seeing them in there for years. They don't change at all. Because you have to eat a certain way, and you have to make sure you get your rest, and you have to train a certain way, and you've got to put some intensity into it, and you've got to have some consistency to what you're doing. And I think the best way to get that, if you don't know, is to go out there and acquire some knowledge. And that's exactly what I did when I first started out. YouTube was, YouTube had been around a little while, but the fitness part of it was really still kind of up and coming, and a lot of the guys that are big names in the YouTube fitness community now were really just pioneering it at the time. And I was fortunate in a way that I was able to find those guys early on and obtain a lot of valuable information from them. I was unfortunate that I didn't think of my idea sooner, because now there's a lot of fitness channels out there. But that doesn't stop me. I've wanted to do this for a long time. I decided to do it, and it took me some time to get it to fruition, because I'm a busy guy and I have a busy lifestyle. But it's been underway for about a month now, and I plan to continue on with it. So I'm going to plug a few of the channels that I started off with, and I think most of you who follow fitness channels know who some of these channels are right off the bat. And that would be, of course, Chris Jones. He's now the Pump Chasers channel. At the time, they were Physiques of Greatness when they started out. I'm talking about from their inception in the beginning, when they were operating out of his little small apartment. And he was with Vince G, and it was I got to see that thing basically from the ground floor to where it is now, and they're very successful now. And unfortunately, they've parted ways and gone into separate projects, but that's fine. I still follow both of them, and I still think that both of them, both Vince G with the Swole Life Squad, I believe he's called now, and Chris Jones with the Pump Chasers. Not only is it great video content, it's gotten better and better, but there's also a great product line that goes along with it. So I've enjoyed seeing the progress of that channel over time and seeing the success that those guys have made. But beyond that, even, I took a tremendous amount of knowledge from these guys in the beginning. I mean, I learned a lot from watching their videos, and they're entertaining guys. So not only are you getting something that you can laugh at, it's something that you can follow along with. It draws you in to want to see what they're up to. But I took a tremendous amount of knowledge on how to go in and train, and things to eat, and how to go about it. So I mean, they were a huge part of my inspiration, not only for training purposes, but for ultimately creating this channel. So shout outs to Pump Chasers, Chris Jones, and Vince G, and the early crew that made all that happen. And to go along with that, I stumbled on early on to Big J with Big J's Extreme Fitness. I love that guy. He's got great video content that goes back at least 5, 6, maybe 7 years. The guy is a beast. I mean, he's probably 50 years old now, which is inspiring to me because I'm over 40, and it proves to you that guys can still do it. And this guy's been through a lot. I mean, he's been training for 30+ years. He was a competitive bodybuilder, I guess strong man. I don't know. He's a very, very strong guy. Was in the military, got run over by a Humvee, you know, broke a lot of bones, returned to bodybuilding, and still to this day can throw around heavy weight like nobody's business. The guy owns a gym, a hardcore, old school, you know, garage bay type gym in Texas. He's involved in law enforcement. He's involved with hot rods, you know, and all kind of like things that, you know, like my dad was involved with, and just a really cool guy. Seems like a really neat guy to be around. He's done a lot of collab videos over the years with some of these other channels. I mean, just an inspiring, uplifting guy. I mean, I don't think you can ask for a better guy. If you want some intensity and some motivation from a positive guy, you got to check out Big J, Big Dre's Extreme Fitness on YouTube, and follow him. I don't think anybody who's into fitness on YouTube hasn't looked at Elliott Hulse and his strength camp and the early Elliott Hulse, the Yo Elliott stuff. I mean, the guy is a philosophical guy. He's a guru of sorts. He understands both the inside and outside of the whole process, not to mention a beast of an athlete himself. And I've enjoyed watching his channels over the years, not only for the inspirational and the philosophical stuff, but basic training stuff, and just a real, you know, when you see guys that are in really fantastic shape and really push themselves to the next level, I don't see how you can't be inspired by it. So Elliott Hulse, Strength Camp, if you can go check him out, look at all his old videos, I don't think you can go wrong with that, and he continues to be an entertaining guy. Now, even on the more, you know, the more mutant level, I enjoy watching Rich Piana's channel. Now, this dude is an absolute freak. Okay, he's open and honest about things, which is what I like about him. At least as far as we know, he's straight up. I mean, he pretty much shoots from the hip. He doesn't pull punches. He doesn't try to hide what he does. He's an absolute beast of a guy, and I've been enjoying his most recent Bigger by the Day series, and the guy's over 300 pounds of mass muscle. I mean, he's a nut, but I find him interesting, and I like that he's willing to share honest information. He's willing to share business ideas and things like that, and he's also been a part of inspiring me to push forward with some of the ideas. So I got to give shouts out to Rich Piana. I don't care what anybody says about it. There's going to be controversial guys out there, but you can find something entertaining in what they do, and I certainly find the guy to be entertaining. Mike Rashid, C.T. Fletcher, and Big Rob, that crew, I mean, if you want to just watch guys throw heavyweight around and show you what it is to be a beast, these guys are the guys to watch. And Mike Rashid is obviously a successful business guy. He's a good talker. You know, I can't say enough about those guys. And if you've been watching any kind of YouTube fitness, you know you've seen these guys, and they're worth a look. I've also enjoyed Kelly Burke. I think he's a guy who doesn't get enough notoriety. You know, he pretty much comes straight at it with his, you know, his training stuff and what he's trying to do, and he's got a product line, and he's worth taking a look at. You know, if you get a chance to look at him. I like the Frank Frazier channel, Bounty Tank, not only for the training stuff, but he's also a bounty hunter, and he puts up episodes every once in a while of his, you know, some of the different things he's got going on in his bounty hunting career. So, you know, that makes for good entertainment, and the guy's a beast, and you know, he's worth a look if you want to get motivated, or if you want to learn about being a bounty hunter, or there's some good entertainment there to be had from that guy. I will tell you that Dana Lynn Bailey's channel is always fun to watch. It's entertaining. These guys are inspiring because they're young people who went out there with business on their mind, and they took care of business. There's just no disputing it. You can't dispute people like that have done what they've done. I don't think I need to really mention channels like that because they're so big and so known at this point that it's not going to do much good for me to mention them. But maybe it'll help me out a little bit, and I got to be straight up and honest about that. You know, that's just the way it goes. But these are some of the main. Scooby, I mean, he's a guy who's been on YouTube for 100 years, and he's an older guy that still looks great and has a tremendous amount of knowledge, and he can take everyday environments, you know, around the house and things like that, and really teach you how to do body weight workouts, workouts with just a couple of dumbbells. I mean, he doesn't, you know, he can take regular environments and turn them into a training environment pretty quick. So it's really good to have insight like that. And basic good nutritional and diet advice. You can go to his website. He's going to give you good sound information that you can use. And in fact, I think in the beginning I used some of his intermediate, some of his beginner workouts to get started at home before I was ready to like really venture into the gym. I took really good information from Scooby and used it at home, and I think that's a good way to start. And you can't go wrong with that. Cali Muscle, always entertaining. Chelsea Lifts. Another interesting channel that this girl has pretty much, she lives in like rural Pennsylvania, but has really built herself quite the little empire, and she's done amazing things with her physique, and she's into powerlifting a little bit, but she looks great, and she's entertaining, and gives you some inspiration if you're looking for to kind of create a business or create a product or really learn how to diet down. I think some of these different guys, they offer coaching and stuff like that. So these are some of the channels that I still watch now. But if I was to put a top 5 together from my inception, of course, before I do that, let's not forget about the Hodge twins. Everybody knows who the Hodge twins are. I don't think they need any introduction. I started off watching them when they were still in their bedrooms of their house when they were living out in California in the early days, and I laughed like most people do when you watch them. They're very funny guys, but they got tremendous physiques, and they're about my age, so it's yet another inspiration for people like me. When if you're 40 years old and you think you can't make gains, I'm here to tell you still can, and I still do it, and those guys are still doing it. And they've made quite a name for themselves. Very impressive, the empire that they've built. So those are some of the channels. And if I was to put them into a top 5 of YouTube channels that I've watched. Now, I have other things I'm subscribed to, and I continue to find new ones all the time. But those are the ones that I really began with because I was there watching them when they started. And I've learned a lot of stuff from these guys. Like I said, diet, and nutrition, and rest, and how to work out, and how to eat. I mean, and they've entertained me along the way. So if I was to put them into a top 5, I would have to probably start off with, Physiques of Greatness at the time, which is now Pump Chasers and Swole Nerd. They're 2 separate channels. They were probably the #1 channel that I watched the most in the beginning. And I think their subscriber base kind of shows that they were probably that for a lot of people. The Hodge twins would have to be right there in the second spot for me personally. The Big J's Extreme Fitness would have to be number 3. I think those are my top 3. Then you're probably going to have the Strength Project with Elliott Hulse, and then maybe I have to put Scooby in the list just because Scooby was probably one of the first channels I ever watched. But I don't think you can forget about Brandon Campbell. I watched Brandon Campbell early on, and I'm still subscribed to him to this day. And I like to just watch random things. If I want to watch Mike O'Hearn or some other, just beastly guys throw weight around, sometimes I go to some of them other channels. But I'm basically talking about the ones that got me started. So anyway, there's my top 5 fitness YouTube channels that pretty much got me going to where I am today, and I hope that I can continue to grow as well as they have. I would please encourage you to go down here and subscribe to my channel. Also, I1 Fitness on Facebook and Instagram. I would really, really appreciate it, and I hope you guys have a fantastic day. Drive it.